I bet you're worried.
We were worried.
We were worried about vaginas.
We were worried what we think about vaginas, and even more worried that we don't think about them. We were worried about our own vaginas. They needed a context of other vaginas, a community, a culture of vaginas. There's so much darkness and secrecy surrounding them, like the Bermuda Triangle. Nobody ever reports back from there.
In the first place, it's not so easy to even find your vagina. Women go weeks, months, sometimes years without looking at it. A high-powered businesswoman was interviewed, and she said she was too busy. She didn't have the time for that. Looking at your vagina, she said, is a full day's work. You have to get down there on your back, in front of a mirror that's standing on its own, preferably full length. You have to get in the perfect position with the perfect light, which is then somehow shadowed by the mirror and the angle you're at. You get all twisted up, arching your head up, killing your back. You're exhausted by then. She said she was too busy. She didn't have time for that.
So there were vagina interviews, which became Vagina Monologues. Over 200 women were interviewed. Older women, younger women, married women, single women, lesbians, college professors, actors, corporate professionals, sex workers, African American women, Asian American women, Hispanic women, Native American women, Caucasian women, Jewish women. Okay, at first women were reluctant to talk. They were a little shy. But once they got going, you couldn't stop them. Women secretly love to talk about their vaginas. They get very excited. Maybe because no one's ever asked them before.
Let's just start with the word vagina. It sounds like an infection test, maybe a medical instrument. How are yours bring with a vagina? Vagina. Vagina. Doesn't matter how many times you say it, it never sounds like a word you want to say. It's completely ridiculous, absolutely unsexy word. If you say it during the sex, trying to be politically correct, darling, could you please stroke my vagina? You'll be act right there.
We were worried about vaginas, what we call them and don't call them.
In Great Neck, New York, they call it pussycat. A woman there said that her mother used to tell her, "Don't wear panties underneath your pajama, dear. You need to air out your pussycat." In Westchester, they called it a poopy.
In New Jersey, a twat.
There's powderbox, a poochie, a poopy, a pepe, a poopaloo, a punani, a cow, and a peachy.
Toddy, Didi, Nishi, Dignity, and Monkeybox.
Worker, hooter, love.
Gladys Siegelman.
VAVV, horse-pot, nippy dugout.
Mungo, mookie, a pajama, fanny boo, marshmallow.
Aguli, posible, tortita, tamale, Connie.
MME in Miami.
A split condition in Philadelphia.
A shman in the Bronx.
Pichka in Croatia.
Pizza in Russian.
Ponce in Hungarian.
Shatz in French.
Mushy in German.
And Basilica in Romanian.
We were worried about vaginas.
You cannot love a vagina unless you love hair. Many people do not love hair. My first and only husband hated hair. He said it was cluttered and dirty. He made me shave my vagina. It looked puffy and exposed and like a little girl. This excited him. When he made love to me, my vagina felt the way a beard must feel. It felt good to rub it and painful, like scratching a mosquito bite. It felt like it was on fire. There were screaming red bumps. I refused to shave it again. Then my husband had an affair. When we went to marital therapy, he said he screwed around because I wouldn't please him sexually. I wouldn't shave my vagina. The therapist had a German accent and gasped between the sentences to show her empathy. She asked me why I didn't want to please my husband. I told her I thought it was weird. I felt little when my hair was gone down there, and I couldn't help talking in a baby voice, and the skin got irritated, and even calamine lotion wouldn't help it. She told me marriage was a compromise. I asked her if shaving my vagina would stop him from screwing around. I asked her if she had many cases like this before. She said that questions diluted the process. I needed to jump in. She was sure it was a good beginning. This time, when we got home, he got to shave my vagina. It was like a therapy bonus prize. He kissed it a few times, and there was a little blood in the bathtub. He didn't even notice it because he was so happy shaving. Then later, when my husband was pressing against me, I could feel his spiky sharpness sticking into me, my naked, puffy vagina. There was no protection. There was no fluff. I realized then that hair is there for a reason. It's the leaf around the flower, the lawn around the house. You have to love hair in order to love the vagina. You can't pick the parts you want. And besides, my husband never stops screwing around.
All of the women were asked the following questions.
If your vagina got dressed, what would it wear?
Glasses,
A beret.
Leather jacket.
silk stockings,
Mink,
A pink boa.
A maid tuxedo, jeans, something form-fitting,
Emeralds. An evening gown.
Sequins.
Armani only.
See-through black underwear.
a taffeta ball gown,
something machine washable.
Costume eye mask.
Purple velvet pajamas.
Angora,
a red bow,
ermine and pearls,
A leopard hat.
A silk kimono.
Sweatpants.
A tattoo.
an electrical shock device to keep unwanted strangers away,
high heels,
Lace and combat boots.
Purple feathers, strings, and shells. Cotton.
a pinafore,
A bikini.
A slicker.
If your vagina could talk, what would it say? 2 words.
Slow down!
Is that you?
Feed me.
I want.
yum yum,
Oh yeah.
Start again.
No, over there.
Lick me.
Stay home. Wait, choice.
Think again.
more please,
Yes, yes.
Let's play.
Don't stop.
More. More.
Remember me?
Not yet.
no mama,
Embrace me.
Rock me.
Enter at your own risk.
Oh God. Thank God.
I'm here.
Let's go.
Let's go.
find me,
Thank you.
bonjour,
Too hard.
don't give up,
That's better.
Yes.
There. There.
A group of women between the ages of 65 and 75 was interviewed. These interviews were the most poignant, possibly because many of these women had never had a vagina interview before. One woman, who was 72, had never even seen her vagina. She washed herself in the shower and bath, but never with conscious intention. She had never had an orgasm. At 72, she went into therapy, as they do in New York. And with the help of her therapist, one afternoon she went home by herself, played some music, lit some candles, took a bath, and she got down with herself. She said it took her almost an hour because she was arthritic. But when she finally found her clitoris, she said she cried. This monologue is for her.
Down there? I haven't been down there since 1953. No, it had nothing to do with Eisenhower. No, it's a cellar down there. You don't want to go down there, trust me. You'd get sick. Suffocating, very nauseating. The smell of the clamminess and the mildew and everything, ugh, smells unbearable. Gets in your clothes. No, there was no accident down there. It didn't blow up or catch fire or anything. It wasn't so dramatic. I mean, well, never mind. No, never mind. I can't talk to you about this. What's a smart girl like you going around talking to old ladies about their down theres for? We didn't do this sort of thing when I was a girl. What? Jesus. Okay. There was this boy. Andy Leprechaun. He was cute, well, I thought so. And tall like me, and I really liked him. He asked me out for a date in his car. I can't tell you this. I can't do this talk about down there. You just know it's there, like the cellar. There's rumbles down there sometimes, and you can hear the pipes and things like that. Little animals and things, and it gets wet, and sometimes we'll have to come plug up the leaks. Otherwise, the door stays closed. You forget about it. I mean, it's a part of the house, but you never see it or think about it. It has to be there, though, because every house needs a cellar. Otherwise, the bedroom would be in the basement. Oh, Andy Lefkoff. Andy was very good looking. He was a cat, that's what we called it in my day. We were in his car, a new white Chevy Bel Air. I remember thinking my legs were too long for the seat. I have long legs. They were smushed up against the dashboard. I was looking at my big kneecaps when he just kissed me in this surprising, taken by control like we do in the movies kind of way. And I got excited. So excited, and well, there was a flood down there. I couldn't control it. It was like this force of passion, this river of life just flooded out of me. Straight through my panties, straight onto the car seat of this new white Chevy Bel Air. It wasn't pee, and it was smelly. Well, frankly, I couldn't really smell anything at all. But Andy said it smelled like sour milk and that it was staining his car seat. I was a stinky, weird girl, he said. I wanted to explain that his kiss had caught me off guard, that I wasn't usually like this. I tried to wipe up the flood with my dress. It was a new yellow primrose dress, and it looked so ugly with the flood on it. Andy drove me home without saying another word. And when I got out and closed his car door, I closed the whole store. Locked it. Never opened for business again. I dated some after that, but the idea of flooding made me too nervous. I never got close again. I used to have dreams, crazy dreams. Oh, they're dopey. Why? Burt Reynolds. I don't know why, he never did much for me in life, but in my dreams he was always Burt and I, Burt and I, Burt and I. It was always the same general dream. We'd be out, Burt and I. It would be some restaurant like the kind you see in Atlantic City. All big with the chandeliers and stuff and thousands of waiters with the vests. Burt would give me an orchid corsage. I'd pin it to my blazer. We'd laugh. We were always laughing, Burt and I. Laughing. We'd eat shrimp cocktail. Huge shrimp, fabulous shrimp. We'd laugh some more. We were very happy together. Then he'd look deep into my eyes and pull me to him in the middle of the restaurant. And just as he was about to kiss me, the whole restaurant would start to shake. Pigeons would fly out from under the table. I don't know what pigeons were doing there. And the blood would come straight from down there. It would pour out of me, pour and pour, and there'd be fish inside it, and little boats. The whole restaurant would fill with my blood. And Bert would be standing waist deep in it, looking horribly disappointed in me that I'd done it again. Horrified as he watched his friends, Dean Martin and the like, swim past us in their tuxedos and evening. I don't have those dreams anymore. Not since they took away just about everything connected with down there. Moved out the uterus, the tubes, the whole works. The doctor thought he was being funny. He told me, if you don't use it, you lose it. But really I found out it was cancer. Everything around it had to go. Who needs it anyway? Highly overrated. I've done other things. I love the dog shows. I sell antiques. You asked me what would it wear? What kind of a question is that, what would it wear? It would wear a big sign, closed due to flooding. What would it say? I told you it's not like that. It's not like a person who speaks. It stopped being a thing that talked a long time ago. It's a place you don't go. It's closed up, under the house. It's down there. You happy? You made me talk. You got it out of me. You got an old lady to talk about her down there. You feel better now. You know what? You're the first person I ever told about this. And I feel a little better.
My vagina is a shell, a round, pink, tender shell, opening and closing, closing and opening. My vagina is a flower, an eccentric tulip, the center acute and deep, the scent delicate, the petals gentle but sturdy. I did not always know this. I learned this in the Vagina Workshop. I learned this from the woman who runs the Vagina Workshop, a woman who believes in vaginas, who really sees vaginas, who helps other women see their vaginas by seeing other women's vaginas. In the first session, the woman who runs the Vagina Workshop asked us to draw a picture of our own unique, beautiful, fabulous vagina. That's what she called it. She wanted to know what our own unique, beautiful, fabulous vagina looked like to us. One woman who was pregnant drew a big red mouth, screaming with coins spilling out. Another very skinny woman drew a big serving plate with a kind of Devonshire pattern on it. I drew a huge black dot with little squiggly lines around it. The black dot was equal to a black hole in space, and the squiggly lines were meant to be people or things or just your basic atoms that got lost there. I had always thought of my vagina as an anatomical vacuum, randomly sucking up particles and objects from the surrounding environment. I did not see my vagina in practical or biological terms. I did not, for example, see it as something attached to me. In the workshop, we were asked to look at our vaginas with hand mirrors. Then, after careful examination, we were to verbally report back to the group what we saw. I must tell you, up until this point, everything I knew about my vagina was based on hearsay or invention. I had never really seen the thing. It had never occurred to me to look at it. My vagina existed for me on some abstract plane. It felt so reductive and awkward, looking at it like we were on the workshop with our hand mirrors. It reminded me of how the early astronomers must have felt with their primitive telescopes. I found it quite unsettling at first, my vagina. Like the first time you see a fish cut open and you discover this other bloody, complex world inside, just under the skin. It was so raw, so red, so fresh. And the thing that surprised me the most were all the layers. Layers inside layers, opening into more layers. My vagina amazed me. I couldn't speak when it came my turn in the workshop. I was speechless. I had awakened to what the woman who ran the workshop called vaginal wonder. I just wanted to lie there on my mat, my legs spread, examining my vagina forever. It was better than the Grand Canyon, ancient and full of grace. It had the innocence and freshness of a proper English garden. It was funny, very funny. It made me laugh. It could hide and seek, open and Then the woman who ran the workshop asked how many women in the workshop had had orgasms. 2 women tentatively raised their hands. I did not raise my hand, but I had had orgasms. I did not raise my hand because they were accidental orgasms. They happened to me. They happened to be my dreams, and I would wake in splendor. It happened a lot in the water, mostly in the bath, once in Cape Cod. They happened on horses, on bicycles, sometimes on the treadmill at the gym. I did not raise my hand because, although I had had orgasms, I did not know how to make one happen. I thought it was a magical, mystical thing. I didn't want to interfere. It felt wrong getting involved. Contrived, manipulative, it felt Hollywood. The surprise would be gone, and the mystery. The problem, of course, was that the surprise had been gone for 2 years. I hadn't had a magical accidental orgasm in a long time, and I was frantic. That's why I was in the vagina workshop. And then the moment had arrived that I had both dreaded and longed for. The woman who ran the workshop asked us to take out our hand mirrors again and to see if we could locate our clitoris. There we were, the group of us women, on our backs, on our mats, searching for our spots, our reason, our locus. And I don't know why, but I started crying. Maybe it was sheer embarrassment. Maybe it was knowing that I finally had to give up the fantasy, the enormous, life-consuming fantasy that someone or something was going to do this for me. The fantasy that someone was coming to lead my life, to choose direction, to give me orgasms. Oh, I could feel the panic coming, the simultaneous terror and realization that I had avoided finding my clitoris, had rationalized it as mainstream and consumerist. I was, in fact, terrified that I did not have a clitoris, that I was one of those constitutionally incapables, one of those frigid, dead, shut down, dry, bitter, apricot tasting. Oh my God! I lay there on my back with my hand mirror, searching for my spot, reaching with my fingers, and all I could think of was the time when I was 10 years old and I lost my gold ring with the emeralds in the lake. How I kept diving over and over again to the bottom, running my hands over stones and fish and bottle caps and slimy stuff, but never my ring. The panic I felt. I knew I'd be punished. The woman running the workshop saw my insane, scrambling, sweating, and heavy breathing. She came over. I told her, it's gone, I've lost my clitoris, I took the word swimming! The woman who ran the workshop laughed. She calmly stroked my forehead. She told me my clitoris was not something I could lose. It was me, she said, the essence of me. It was both the doorbell to my house and the house itself. I didn't have to find it. I had to be it. Be it. Be my clitoris. Be my clitoris. I lay back and closed my eyes. I put the mirror down. I watched myself slowly floating above myself. I watched as I slowly began to approach myself and re-enter. Felt like an astronaut re-entering the surface of the earth. It was very quiet, this re-entry, quiet and gentle. I bounced and landed and bounced. I came into my own muscles and blood and cells, and then I slid into my vagina. It was suddenly easy and I fit. I was all warm and pulsing and young and ready and alive. And then, without looking, with my eyes still closed, I put my finger on what had suddenly become me. There was a slight quivering at first, which urged me to stay. And then, the quivering became a quake, an eruption, the layers dividing and subdividing. The quaking broke open into an ancient horizon of light and silence, which opened into a plane of music and colors and innocence and longing, and I felt connection, calling connection, as I lay there, thrashing about on my little blue mat. My vagina is a shell, a tulip, and a destiny. I am arriving as I am beginning to leave. My vagina, me.
Here is a vagina happy fact. This is from Woman, an Intimate Geography by Natalie Angers. The clitoris is pure in purpose. It is the only organ in the human body that is designed purely for pleasure. The clitoris is simply a bundle of nerves, 8,000 nerve fibers to be precise. That's a higher concentration of nerve fibers than is found anywhere else in the male or female body, including the fingertips, the lips, the tongue, and it is twice the number in the penis. Who needs a hand-on when you've got a semi-automatic?
This monologue was based on an interview with a woman who had a good experience with a man.
This is how I came to love my vagina. It's embarrassing because it's not politically correct. I mean, I know it should have happened in a bath, salt grains from the Dead Sea, Enya playing, me loving my woman self. I know the story. Vaginas are beautiful. Our self-hatred is only the internalized repression and hatred of the patriarchal culture. It isn't real. Pussies unite! I know all of it. Like, if we'd grown up in the culture where we were taught fat thighs were beautiful, we'd be pounding down milkshakes and Krispy Kremes, lying on our backs, spending our days thigh expanding. But we didn't grow up in that culture. I hated my thighs and I hated my vagina even more. I thought it was incredibly ugly. I was one of those women who had looked at it. And from that moment on, I wish I hadn't. It made me sick. I pitied anyone who had to go down there. In order to survive, I started to imagine there was something else between my legs. I imagined furniture. Cozy futons, light cotton comforters, little velvet settees, leopard rugs, or pretty things, silk handkerchiefs, quilted hot holders, place settings. I got so accustomed to this that I lost all memory of having a vagina. Whenever a man was inside me, I imagined him inside a mink-lined muffler or a Chinese bowl. Then I met Bob. Bob was the most ordinary man I've ever met. He was thin and tall and nondescript. And wore khaki tank clothes. Bob did not like spicy foods, or listen to Prince. He had no interest in sexy lingerie. In the summer, he spent time in the shade. He wasn't very funny, or articulate, or mysterious. He wasn't mean or unavailable. He wasn't self-centered or articulate. He didn't drive fast. I didn't particularly like Bob. I would have missed him altogether if he hadn't picked up my change that I dropped on the deli floor. When he handed me back my quarters and pennies and his hand accidentally touched mine, something happened. I went to bed with him. That's when the miracle occurred. Turned out, Bob loved vaginas. He was a connoisseur. He loved the way they felt, the way they tasted, the way they smelled. But most important, he loved the way they looked. He had to look at them. The first time we had sex, he said he had to see me. I'm right here. No, he said. You. I have to see you. Turn on the light. I said, thinking he was a weirdo and freaking out in the dark. He turned on the light. Then he said, okay, I'm ready to see you. Right here. I waved. I'm right here. He started to undress me. What are you doing, Bob? I said. I need to see you, he replied. No need, I said. Just do it. I need to see what you look like, he said. But you must have seen a red leather couch before, I said. Bob didn't stop. He continued. I wanted to throw up and die. This is awfully intimate, I said. Can't you just do it? No, he said. It's who you are. I have to see. I held my breath. He looked. And looked. He became breathy and his face changed. He didn't look ordinary anymore. He looked like a wild beast. You're so beautiful, he said. You look innocent and deep and wild. You saw that there, I said. It was like he was reading my palm. I saw that there, he said, and more, much, much more. He stayed looking for almost an hour, as if studying a map, observing the moon, staring into my eyes. But it was my vagina. In the light, I watched him looking at me, and he was so genuinely excited and peaceful and euphoric. I began to get wet and turn on. I began to see myself the way he saw me. I began to feel beautiful and delicious, like a great painting or waterfall. Bob wasn't afraid. He wasn't grossed out. I began to feel proud, began to love my vagina. And Bob, he lost himself there. And I was with him there, and we were gone.
This is a not-so-happy fact found in UNICEF's 2005 report, Female Genital Mutilation and Cutting, a Statistical Exploration. Female genital mutilation has been inflicted on approximately 130 million girls and young women. In the 28 countries where it is practiced, mostly in Africa, about 3 million young girls a year can expect the knife, or the razor, or a glass shard to cut their clitoris or remove it altogether. In a man, it would range from amputation of most of the penis to removal of all of the penis. Short-term results include tetanus, hemorrhages, cuts in the urethra, bladder, and vaginal walls. Long-term, chronic uterine infection, increased agony and danger during childbirth, and early death.
vagina is angry. It is. It is pissed off. My vagina is furious, and it needs to talk. It needs to talk about all this shit. It needs to talk to you. I mean, what's the deal? An army of people out there thinking up ways to torture my poor ass, gentle, loving vagina. Spending their days constructing psycho products and nasty ideas to undermine my pussy? Vagina motherfuckers! All this shit they're constantly trying to shove off us, clean us up, stuff us up, make it go away. Well, my vagina is not going away. It is pissed off and it's staying right here. Like tampons. What the hell is that? A dry wet of fucking cotton stuff up there. Why can't they find a way to suddenly lubricate the tampon? As soon as my vagina sees it, it goes into shock. It says, forget it, it closes up. We need to work with the vagina, introduce it to things, prepare the way. That's what foreplay is all about. You got to convince my vagina, seduce my vagina, engage my vagina's trust. You can't do that with a dry wet of fucking cotton. Stop shoving things up me. Stop shoving and stop cleaning it up. My vagina does not need to be cleaned up. It smells good already. Don't try to decorate. Don't believe them when he tells you it smells like rose petals, when it's supposed to smell like pussy. That's what they're doing. Trying to make it smell like bathroom spray or garden. All those douche sprays, floral, berry, rain. I don't want my pussy to smell like rain. All cleaned up, like washing a fish after you cooked it. I want to taste the fish. That's why I ordered it. Then, there's those exams. Who thought them up? There's got to be a better way to do those exams. Why the scary paper dress that scratches your tits, crunches when you lie down so you feel like a wad of paper someone threw away? Why the scary rubber gloves? The flashlight all up there like Nancy Drew working against gravity? Why the Nazi steel stirrups and the mean cold duck lips they shove inside of you? What is that? My vagina is angry about those visits. It gets defensive weeks in advance. It won't leave the house. Then, you get there. Don't you hate that? Scoot down. Relax your vagina. Why? So you can shove mean cold duck lips inside of it? I don't think so. Why can they find some nice, delicious purple velvet, wrap it around me? Lay me down on a feathery cotton spread. Put on some nice, friendly pink or blue gloves and rest my feet in fur-covered stirrups. Warm up the duck lips. Work with my vagina. But no, more tortures. Dry wet of fucking cotton, cold duck lips, and thong underwear. Who thought that up? Thong underwear. Moves around all the time, gets stuck in the back of your crusty butt. Vagina is supposed to be loose and wide, not held together. That's why girdles are so bad. We need to move and spread and talk and talk. Vaginas need comfort. Make something like that, something to give them pleasure. But no, of course, they won't do that. Hate to see a woman having pleasure, particularly sexual pleasure. I mean, make a nice pair of soft cotton underwear with a French tickler built in. Women would be coming all day long. Coming in the supermarket, coming at the subway, coming, happy vaginas. They wouldn't be able to stand it. Seeing all those energized, not taking shit, hot, happy vaginas. If my vagina could talk, it would talk about itself like me. It would talk about other vaginas. It would do vagina impressions. It would wear hairy Winston diamonds. No clothing, just there, all draped in diamonds. My vagina helped release a giant baby. It thought it would be doing more of that. It's not. Now it wants to travel, doesn't want a lot of company. It wants to read and know things and get out more. It wants sex. It loves sex. It wants to go deeper. It's hungry for depth. It wants kindness. It wants change. It wants silence and freedom and gentle kisses and warm liquids and deep touch. It wants chocolate. It wants to scream. It wants to stop being angry. It wants to come. It wants to want. It wants my vagina. My vagina, it wants everything.
Bosnian women refugees were interviewed during the war in Yugoslavia in refugee camps and centers. 20 to 70,000 women were raped in the middle of Europe as a systematic tactic of war. It was shocking to see how little people did to stop it. But then again, in Hungary, every year more than 200 women are raped, which is another kind of war. This monologue is based on one woman's story. We do it tonight for that woman and the extraordinary women of Bosnia and Kosovo.
My vagina was green, water, soft, pink wheels, cow moving, sun resting, sweet boyfriend touching lightly with soft piece of blood straw. There's something between my legs. I do not know, but it is. I do not know, but it is. I do not touch. Not now. Not anymore. Not since. My vagina was chatting. Can't wait. So much saying words, talking. Can't quit trying. Can't quit waiting. Oh yes. Oh yes. Not since I dream. There's a dead animal swimming down there with black fishing line. The dead animal smell cannot be removed. It's totally solid, and it bleeds through all my summer dresses. My vagina, singing all girl songs, all God's bell ringing songs, all white autumn field songs, vagina songs, vagina home songs. Not since the soldiers put a long, thick rifle inside me. So cold, the city wrote canceling my heart. Don't know whether they're going to fire it or shove it to my spinning brain. 6 of them. Monster doctors with black masks, shoving bottles at me too. There were sticks, and then the full bloom. My vagina, swimming river water, clean, spilling water over, some big stones over, stone clays, clay stones over and over, not since I heard the skin tear and made limousine pitching sounds. Not since a piece of my vagina came up in my hand. Now, one side of the lip is completely gone. My vagina, alive with water village. My vagina, my hometown. Not since they took turns for 7 days, smelling like feces and smoked meat. They left their dirty sperm inside me. I became a river of pus and pus. All the corpse died, and the fish. My vagina, alive, blood, water village. They invaded it, butchered it and burned it down. I do not touch now. I do not visit. I live someplace else now. I do not know where that is.
Hundreds of interviews with homeless women over the course of 13 years, only one woman was not sexually abused as a little girl or raped as a young woman. For most of these women, home is a very scary place, a place they have fled. The shelters are ironically the first places many of them ever find safety, protection, or comfort. This is a woman's story, as she told it. What isn't in the story is the fact that this woman met another woman in the shelter, and they fell in love, and through their love, they both got out of the shelter system.
Memory, December 1965, 5 years old. My mama tells me in a scary, loud, life-threatening voice to stop scratching my coochie snorcher. I become terrified that I've scratched it off down there. I do not touch myself again, even in the bath. I'm afraid of the water getting in there and filling me up so I explode. I put Band-Aids over my coochie to cover the hole, but they fall off in the water. I imagine a stopper, a bathtub plug up there to prevent things from entering me. I sleep with 3 pairs of happy heart pattern cotton underpants underneath my snap-up pajamas. I still want to touch myself sometimes, but I don't. Memory, 7 years old. Edgar Montaigne, who is 10, gets angry at me and punches me with all his might between the legs. It feels like he breaks my entire self. I limp home. I can't pee. My mama asks me what's wrong with my coochie snorcher. And when I tell her what Edgar did to me, she yells at me. She says, never let anyone touch it down there again. I try to explain, he didn't touch it, Mama. He punched it. Memory, 9 years old. I play on the bed, bouncing and falling, and impale my coochie snorcher on the bedpost. I make high-pitched screaming noises that come straight from my coochie snorcher's mouth. I get taken to the hospital and they sew it up down there from where it's been torn apart. Memory, 10 years old. I'm at my father's house and he's having a party. Everyone's drinking. I'm playing alone in the basement and I'm trying on my new cotton white bra and panties that my father's girlfriend gave me. Suddenly my father's best friend, this big man Alfred, comes up from behind and he pulls my new underpants down and sticks his big hard penis into my coochie snorcher. I scream, I kick, I try to fight him off, but he already gets it in. My father's there then and he has a gun and there's loud, horrible noises. And there's blood all over Alfred and all over me, lots of blood. I'm sure my coochie snorcher has finally fallen out. Alfred is paralyzed for life, and my mama doesn't let me see my father for 7 years. Memory, 13 years old. My coochie snorcher is a very bad place, a place of pain, nastiness, punching, invasion, and blood. It's a site for mishaps. It's a bad luck zone. I imagine a freeway between my legs and I'm traveling, going far away from here. Memory, 16 years old. There's this gorgeous 24-year-old woman in our neighborhood and I stare at her all the time. One day she invites me into her car. She asks me if I like to kiss boys and I tell her I do not like that. Then she says she wants to show me something. She leans over, kisses me so softly on the lips with her lips, and then she puts her tongue in my mouth. Wow. She asks me if I want to come over to her house, and then she kisses me again. Tells me to relax, to feel it, to let our tongues feel it. She asked my mama if I can spend the night, and my mother's delighted that such a beautiful, successful woman has taken an interest in me. I'm scared, and I can't wait. Her apartment's fantastic. She's got it hooked up. It's the 70s, the beads, the fluffy pillows, the mood lights. I decided right there that I want to be a secretary just like her when I grow up. She makes a vodka for herself, and then she asks me what I want to drink. I say the same as she's drinking. And she says she doesn't think my mama would like me drinking vodka. I say she probably wouldn't like me kissing girls either. And the pretty lady makes me drink. Then she changes into this chocolate satin teddy. She's so beautiful. I always thought bull daggers were ugly. I say, you look great. She says, so do you. I say, but I only have this white cotton bra and underpants. Then she dresses me slowly in another satin teddy. It's lavender like the first soft days of spring. The alcohol is gone to my head and I'm loose and ready. There's a picture over her bed of a naked black woman with a huge afro. She gently and slowly lays me out on the bed and just our bodies rubbing makes me come. Then she does everything to me in my coochie snorcher that I always thought was nasty before. And wow, I'm so hot, I'm so wild. She says, your vagina, untouched by man, smells so nice, so fresh. Wish I could keep it that way forever. I get crazy wild. And then the phone rings, and of course it's my mama. I'm sure she knows. She catches me at everything. I'm breathing so heavy, and I try to act normal when I go to the phone. And she asks me, what's wrong with you? Have you been running? I say, no, Mama, exercising. Then she tells the beautiful secretary to make sure I'm not around any boys. And the lady tells her, trust me, there's no boys around me. Afterwards, the gorgeous lady teaches me everything about my coochie snorcher. She makes me play with myself in front of her, and she teaches me all the different ways to give myself pleasure. She's very thorough. She tells me to always know how to give myself pleasure, so I'll never have to rely on a man. In the morning, I'm worried that I become a butch because I'm so in love with her. She laughs, but I never see her again. I realized later she was my surprising, unexpected, and politically incorrect salvation. She transformed my sorry-ass coochie snorcher and raised it into a kind of heaven.
We have created a map of vagina-friendly cities. Welcome, Budapest. They are wild for vaginas in Pittsburgh. In fact, a woman from Pittsburgh was obsessed with one particular word, a pejorative word used to describe the vagina. Her mission was to reconceive the word.
I call it cunt. I've reclaimed it. Cunt. I really like it. Cunt. Listen to it. Cunt. Cavern, cackle, clit, cute, come, closed c, closed inside ca, then you, then see you, then curvy, inviting sharkskin you, uniform, under, up, urge, you, then N, then con, snug letters fitting perfectly together, N, nest, now, nexus, nice, nice, always depth, always round in uppercase, con, N, a wicked, jagged, electrical pulse, then T, then sharp, certain, tangy, T, texture, take, tent, tight, tantalizing, tensing, taste, tendrils, time, tactile, tell me, cunt! Say it, tell me cunt!
A 6-year-old girl was asked, if your vagina got dressed, what would it wear?
Red high tops and a Mets cap worn backwards.
If it could speak, what would it say?
It would say words that begin with V and T. Turtle and violin are examples.
What does your vagina remind you of?
A pretty dark peach. Or a diamond that I found from a treasure, and it's mine.
What is special about your vagina?
Somewhere, deep inside, it has a really, really smart brain.
And what does it smell like?
Snowflakes!
Sex workers have rich, complex, compelling relationships with their vaginas. This particular woman blows my mind. She was a sex worker, but she only did sex work with women.
Women pay me to dominate them, to excite them, to make them come. I did not start out like this. No, to the contrary. I started out as a lawyer. But in my late 30s, I became obsessed with making women happy. It began as a mission of sorts, but then I got involved in it. I got very good at it, kind of brilliant. It was my art. I started getting paid for it. It was as I had found my calling. I wear outrageous outfits when I dominate women. Lace and leather and silk. I use props, whips, handcuffs, rope, dildos. There was nothing like this in Dax law. There were no props, no excitement, and I hated those blue corporate suits. Although I wear them now from time to time in my new line of work, and they serve quietly nicely. There were no props in corporate law, no excitement, no wetness, no dark mysterious foreplay, no erect nipples, no delicious mouth, but mainly there was no money. Not that kind I'm talking about anyway. This was the key. I see now. Money was the thing that ultimately seduced me and got me addicted to making women happy. When I was a little girl, and I would see women in the movies making love, making strange orgasmic noises, I used to laugh. I couldn't believe that big outrageous and garment sounds like that came out of women. I launched them on. I practiced it in front of my mirror, on a tape recorder, moaning in various keys, various tones. But when I always played it back, it sounded fake. It was fake. It wasn't rooted in anything sexual, really. Only in my desire to be sexual. But then, when I was 10, I had to be really badly once, on a car trip. It went on for almost an hour, and when I finally got to be in this dirty little gas station, it was so exciting. I'm on as I plead. I couldn't believe me moaning in a Texaco station in the middle of Louisiana. I realized right then that moms were not connected with things, with getting what you want right away, with things pointing up. I realized moms were best when they caught you by surprise, came out of this hidden, mysterious part of you that was speaking its own language. I realized that moms were, in fact, that language. I became a moaner. It made most men anxious. Frankly, it terrified them. I was loud and they could not concentrate on what they are doing. They would lose focus, then they would lose everything. Who could not make love in people's homes? The walls were too thin. I got a reputation in my building, and people stared at me with contempt in the elevator. Men thought I was too intense. Some called me insane. I began to feel bad about moaning. I got quiet and polite. I made noises into a pillow. I learned to choke my moan, hold it back like a sneeze. I began to have headaches and stress-related disorders. I was becoming hopeless when I discovered women. I discovered that most women loved my moan. But more importantly, I discovered how deeply excited I got when other women moaned. When I was responsible for other women moaning. I made love to quiet women. and I found this place inside of them, and they shot themselves in their moment. I made love to moaners, and they found a deeper, more penetrating moan. It was kind of surgery, a kind of delicate science, finding the tempo, the exact location or hole of the moan. That's what I call it. Sometimes I found it over a woman's jeans. Sometimes I snuck upon it of the record, quietly desiring the surrounding alarms and moving in. Sometimes I used force, but not violent or pressing force, more like dominating. I'm going to take you someplace, don't worry, lay back and enjoy the ride, kind of force. Sometimes, it was still one day, I found the moan before things even started, while waiting, salad or chicken, just casual, just right there with my fingers. Sometimes I use props. I love props. And sometimes I make the woman to find her own moon in front of me. I waited, stuck it out until she opened herself. I wasn't fooled by a minor monologues mom. No, I pushed her father all into the pro-powered mom. Now, this is the clip mom. The vaginal mon. The combo, clean vaginal mon. There's the almost mon. The right on eat mon. Oh yes. Yes, 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 yes! The elegant one. The great slick one. White rabbit! The wax one. The machine gun one. The diva mon. Oh. The CU mon. Oh. Oh. I should. I should be starting. The surprise triple orgasm. Oh god. Okay, good. Oh yeah. Yes!
hours for some time without any mention of birth. This was a bizarre admission. But then again, a male journalist recently asked, what's the connection? Our author, Eve Ensler, was present at the birth of her growing daughter. She was in awe of vaginas before that moment. She is in deep worship now.
I was there when her vagina opened. We were all there, her mother, her husband, and I, and the nurse from the Ukraine, with her whole hand up there in her vagina, feeling and turning her rubber glove as she talked casually to us, like she was turning on a loaded faucet. I was there in the room, and contractions made her crawl on all fours, made familiar moans leak out of her pores, and still there, after hours, when she was just screaming suddenly wild, her arms striking the electric hair. I was there when her vagina changed from a shy sexual hole to an ecological tunnel, a secret vessel, a venation canal, a deep well with tiny stuffed child inside, waiting to be rescued. I saw colors of her vagina. They changed. I saw the bruised block in blue, the blistering tomato red, the gray pink, the dark, saw the blood like perspiration among the edges, saw the yellow, white liquid, the sheep, the clots pushing out all the holes, pushing harder and harder, saw through the hole, the baby's head, scratches of black hair, saw it just there, behind the bone, a hard-drawn memory, as the nurse from the Ukraine kept turning and turning her simple hand. I was there when each of us, her mother and I, held a leg and spread her wide, pushing with all our strength against her cushion, and her husband sternly counted. 1, 2, 3, telling her to focus, harder. We looked into her then. We couldn't get our eyes out of that place. We forget the vagina. All of us. What else would explain our lack of awe, lack of reverence? I was there in the room when doctor reached in with Alice in Wonderland spoons. And there, as her vagina became a white operatic mouth, singing with all its strength. First little head, then the grey-floating arm, then the fast-swimming body, swimming quickly into our living arms. I was there later, when I just turned and faced her vagina. I stood and let myself see. Her all spread, completely exposed, mutilated, swollen and torn, bleeding all over the doctor's hands who was calmly sitting over there. I stood and vagina suddenly became a wide, red, pulsing heart. The heart is capable of sacrifice. So is the vagina. The heart is able to forgive and repair. It can change its shape to let us in. It can expand to let us out. So can the vagina. It can ache for us, stretch for us, die for us, and bleed us into this difficult, wondrous world. I was there in the room. I remember.
Until the most marginalized are held in the center, until the dots are connected, the silence is broken, and the story is told. Until each part of this struggle is integrated and whole, until the law is a breathing thing, until every violence is part of the violence we seek to end, until every caste, every race, every sexuality and gender, until there's one story. Until we stop forcing poor women into buildings on the verge of collapse or into garbage sites or back alleys to make a meager living. Until we stop sending raped women home to places where they await again, until we stop seizing and destroying the land of the indigenous, until we honor the women who were murdered and beaten and raped in wars, in cities, military barracks, refugee camps, homes, churches, in colleges, in schools, on buses, in marriage beds, in forests, in work fields and offices, until we refuse the occupation and excavation of our bodies, bases, fields, resources, and hearts. Not with more bombs, not with more death, not with more pain. Until each violation is uttered and each hurt is shared. Until the layers of memory and oppression are uncovered and bared. Until the law serves the poorest and stops protecting the mighty. Until all are held by the same standards. Until women rise in knowledge of their value and rights. Outside courthouses, police stations, government offices, workplaces, military courts, embassies, places of worship, homes. Until we release our shame, guilt, grief, pain, humiliation, and rage. Until apologies and reparations are made by governments, leaders, husbands, boyfriends, brothers, fathers, ministers, mullahs, priests, uncles, bosses, corporate heads. Until we refuse to accept anything that does not include all.
1 million will rise for justice.
And now, I would like to give the floor to our director, Simona Gamonda.
Thank you all for coming tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. And it was worth it. I know everyone is very busy in this time of the year. Every year, for the 6th year in a row, Human Rights Initiative organized the Vagina Monologues at CU. As you already know, probably the Vagina Monologues have been organized in the past 15 years around the globe with a purpose to raise awareness about violence against women and to end it. This year, the money that we have raised from the ticket and the Vagina cupcakes are going to a local shelter for women and children located in Budapest. More precisely, 90% from the money collected, and 10% are going to the V-Day campaign. So far, we collected around 200,000 forints. So thank Amazing. Perfect. Great. Awesome. So we should drink for that. There's going to be an after party at Anket. That's on Paula Ede Street, number 33. I hope I said the right name. We have a reservation around 9 something, so you will find us there if you want to join us or something. Thank you.